inspiration, motivation, or hope? Do you let fear hold you back? Sometimes you feel lost or just stuck in your own thoughts, and you want a clear path to give you results. Then, my friend, you are in the right place. My name is Rachel Best, and I am your host of How to Make a Mark in the World, Finding Your Signature. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes.
Good afternoon. I guess good morning. It feels so much later than 11:13 in the morning. But good morning, everybody. Today we have a special guest, and his name is Raul. I got the opportunity to meet Raul. Gosh, when was that? Has that been about 6 months or so ago?
Probably. It
Yeah.
feels long, but
I
yeah,
know.
all right.
So about 6 months ago, I got the opportunity to meet him actually at we met at a speaker competition, right? Is that where we met?
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I've been to so many different things, meet people from all over. I'm like, how did we meet? So yes, we met at a speaker competition, and we just, we have so many things in alignment with each other. And he is just a great person that you definitely want to be in his circle of friends and his network. And he's just doing some amazing things in the world. And that is why he is on this podcast today, because he is just making an impact. And I really love what you do, Raul, because it's so much different than a lot of people I've ever met. So it's really awesome. So go ahead and share with us who you are and how are you making a mark in the world?
Well, first of all, Rachel, thank you so much for having me on your platform, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, you inspire me to make my mark because you're doing yours. And that's how I think we make the world go round, right? We make our mark in the world. We share our talents with the world, and you're doing just that. So thank you for being who you are in this space.
Thank you.
I would say that I make my mark in the world just by being present. Today is a blessing, and it's a miracle that we're even here. And taking that ounce of gratitude that I wake up with every single morning, I want to inspire the world through poetry. Writing has never been a challenge for me. It's always been a way of me expressing myself in the most profound way, in gratitude to God for allowing me to be here and share that talent with people, inspiring them every single day, whether it's a motivational post with a picture or just smiles. I've always been a guy that they call the smiley guy. I love it. Smiles with people. I love to get on stages now that we're both in this personal growth space. I love to get on stage and just give people those inspiring words that you just never know how they're going to be impacted. There could be 50 people in the room, but if your message resonates with at least one person and say, Rachel, like, my gosh, that was an amazing talk. You don't know how you just touched my life. Like, that's what motivates me, because if I'm feeling this much joy inside of my heart every single day that makes me smile the way that I do, I want others to live that joy too. And so I think that's my fire.
Yeah, I love that. And Raul, like, you just have no idea the people that you're impacting and how you're impacting. And so I love that you said that. Like, it's just, I always live life like, if I can just impact one person at a time, because if we can just impact that one person, inspire them, and just so that to leave a mark in their life that is a positive mark, because we all get to live, we get to make choices, right? So we get to make a choice if we want to leave a positive or a negative impact on somebody's life. And I love that you just want to be in so much gratitude, because that's like the highest level, right? Love and gratitude is the highest level that you can be to impact other people's life. And then there's just an attraction that people just want to be around you, because you're just so positive and you're just so grateful. When you have so much gratitude, it's hard to be negative. And so share with us a little bit about your journey and what got you to where you're at now and how you're creating an impact in the world.
For those of you listening, if there's anything that you take from my amazing time with Rachel this morning, it's this. Have you ever thought about your routines, and specifically morning and evening routine. And I'm not just talking about, you wake up and maybe you pray or you meditate, and then you jump in the shower, and then you have breakfast, and then you go through your day. I mean, like, literally, like, your me time. I finally learned what it is to have me time about 3 years ago, when we were at the peak of the pandemic, where you should pretty much stay home unless you have anything. If unless you have anything super important to do, you should stay home. Like January 2020 ish.
Mhm.
I'd gone through life. I'm 39 years young. I don't like to say the word old. I don't like to say the word old for anybody. Like, if I meet a 75 somebody who's 75, I'll say you are 75 years young, my friend. Nice.
Yes.
So 39 years young, right? So go back about 3 years. I've been in education for 18 years, right? But going through the motions of life just routinely, right? But then I didn't meet, but our mutual friend Jose Escobar, which I'm sure he's been on this platform as well.
Mhm.
He reached out to me to talk about morning and evening routine, and so I said, well, wake up, shower, that kind of thing. He's like, no, 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 like really, like a morning and evening routine, you know, prayer or meditation, reading nonfiction books, journaling, cold showers, waking up at 5 in the morning, scheduling your day, checking your finances, having a active, we call it like an active conscience. Like, what did I do today that made me happy? What am I not happy about, and how do I want to change that tomorrow? Just those kind of really deep dive into your own development. I never had that in my life, like, at all, up until 3 years ago.
Wow.
And that literally changed my life, because I started to really, I mean, I knew about personal growth and development, but that was the kickstarter to really being invested in it. As far as reading to keep myself active and engaged and hungry to keep making my mark in the world, as you say, to find that inspiration inside of me to say, I do have this talent for writing. I'm going to do this for me because it makes me happy. And if there's people in the world to appreciate it, then I'm going to smile even more. But I before I got to into this space of personal growth, I used to think, limiting beliefs knocking on my head, like, who's going to read your book? Oh, come on, you're not good enough. What are you going to write a book for? Like, that dominated my mindset for a long time. But up until I started to that January 2020 mark in my life, where I really started to pay attention to adding that structure to my life in the morning and in the evening, where I'm focusing on me,
Mhm.
it's life changing. And if it's been life changing for me, and if you're watching or listening, and that's something that's resonating with you, you just buckle your seatbelt for the life changing experience that it can be for you.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. And I'm impressed that you're only 3 years into your personal development
Yeah,
journey.
just three.
Wow. Wow. Like, obviously it was in you the whole time. It was just waiting to be nurtured, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep, yep.
and be with the right people. And so talk about that a little bit. Like, when it comes to being in the right network of people, share with us a little bit about that. Like, who are the people that you hang out with? What do you look for, when you're, in groups of people and having, those 5 people that are your core friends? Share with us a little bit about that.
What I don't like about that phrase is that it's a lot more than 5 people.
Right, right.
You cannot limit that to just 5 people. You can't get enough. Like, you're a perfect example. I don't get to see you every day, but I get to be motivated, and I get to be inspired by what you do on social media, mainly Facebook, which is how we keep in touch, so to speak. So when you're involved with so many entrepreneurs the way that we are, Entrepreneurship is it's not for the faint of heart, because as you know, you got a lot of you have days where you're kind of you're either really high, you're kind of coasting, and then there's that part where it's like, okay, um, something's got to happen,
Mhm.
and everywhere in between.
Yep. Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's why it's good to have good people around you, right? For those dips, but also to celebrate with you.
Yes. So, when you connect with people like Rachel, Daniel Gomez, which we both know very well, the Nikkis, the Jose's, the Marilyns, and I can go on and on. They Rachel, I'm telling you, I'm gonna trademark this expression, because I think I'm the only one saying it. Like, connecting with people like that, right? Like, this is gratitude. It's not that the cup is half full or half empty. We have this cup. And if you want to, or as many times as you need to, you can refill this cup. It's your cup.
Yeah.
You invested in this cup, and it's your cup. So I think that's what it means to be connected to all those amazing people. You're never going to feel like your cup is empty, but on those days that it is empty, you have somebody that you can talk to, even if it's not face to face. This is the beauty of social media and technology. They feel like they're in the room with you, because they're also heart-centered people. What they want, what you want, which is to make your mark in the world by just spreading peace and joy in their own unique ways.
Yeah. And I was on the phone with Daniela about an hour ago. We had a good about 45-minute to an hour conversation, and I just come in the house, and I'm just so excited when I talk to, individuals, and as we collaborate, and as we, just stay connected, and I just get excited. And then I start having these ideas and these thoughts and these things, and we're all trying to make the world a better place. I actually had a conversation with a friend not too long ago, and I said, I feel like that little kid. I don't know if when you were in school, if they asked you, I feel like I was in like first or second grade, and they asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, and what do you want to do when you grow up? And I want to change the world, right? And I sometimes feel like that little kid right now.
Yeah.
And I actually just saw somebody's post the other day that I could relate to so much, that I feel like I can be that one. Like, if there's enough of us that come together, we can be those crazy people that we can save the world, right? So because we're just each one of us are just shining our light into the world, and people are hungry. Wouldn't you agree? People are hungry for inspiration, motivation, hope, gratitude. They're lost, and so that's what I love about what your passion is just for people to live their life fully. And I want you to grab that cup back out, because that cup is important to you, and I want you to share with everybody, what does that cup mean to you? Not just the physical cup, but what's on it. What does that mean to you?
So again, like about 3 years ago, I really started to embrace the writer in me, right? I I know that a lot of people talk about how I want to write this book, and I remember this quote at an event that I went to in Virginia. I think it was about a year ago, that the event host said, 80% of humanity feel that they have a book in them. They truly do, 80%. But here's the kicker. You know how much of that 80% actually goes ahead and writes the book? And we're all throwing out numbers. 1%.
Wow. That's crazy.
Just 1%.
Wow.
Like, I'm thinking, maybe, 5%, 7%, 10%, 1%. Oof. I'm like, imagine how much peace and gratitude and healing we could erase that number. And for me to find myself in personal growth for the first time in my life, like almost knocking on 40 next year, uh, it inspired me to such a way that I'm like, I like this is something that I want to look at with so much pride and joy that I want a pen name. And I was inspired by another poet, and his actual name is Diego Perez, right? But his pen name is Young Pueblo, like Young Town, right, in English. I'm like, that's really cool. But of course, I'm not going to copy his name.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do something I've never done before. And I would inspire you or encourage you to do the same today if you've never done it. Google what your name means. What does Rachel mean? Do you know? I don't know, but we'll see after today. What does
I've looked it up, but it's been a while. I kind of forget. So I'm going to look it up.
We'll Google it. So I was pleasantly surprised to learn that Raul means wolf counsel. So Counsel. I'm like, okay, that is really cool, right? But still not creative enough to have a pen name with, like Wolf Counsel. I got to add some creative juices to this.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, counsel. Well, counsel reminds me of a counselor,
Right.
and a counselor is a very wise person. And then I had that aha moment where I'm like, oh, wise person, wolf counsel. Let me swap them. Like, oh yes, okay, I think I got it. Like wise wolf.
That's awesome. I did not know that. I love it. How cool.
Like, yes, like this is it, wise wolf. And so now I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life because not only have I found self-love, but I also have a partner, right? So obviously together, the wise wolf and the she wolf, we make a wolf pack.
That's awesome. That is incredible. I did not know the story. Like I knew that's your brand and that's what I relate that to you, but I had no idea. Wow. The significance of that is incredible.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So share with us like a little bit more about the wolf pack and the wise wolf. Share more about that.
So, I was really thinking, I'm just going to be an author and write poetry because I love to write it. But then again, it's like the more you connect with such amazing people, such as yourself and Daniel and so many others, it's kind of like you're setting yourself lower than what you're capable of. And it's like it kind of goes in spurts, right? So you become an author. And then, of course, if you want to reach more people, you won't reach them just writing the book. You got to get on stages and you got to be on podcasts and you got to, promote yourself. So you elevate to now, being a speaker, and then you become a coach, and then you have a program or a membership or a mastermind. And so quickly, it's like any stage I get on now, it's either Wise Wolf or Raul.
I love it. That's awesome. What a great name to go with your. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it.
I had an amazing conversation with her the other day. My she wolf, right?
Uh-huh.
You even have my shirt there. It's like, don't overstress yourself because you're not selling shirts or you're not selling books. It's like, you know what those are? Those are just now I forgot how she phrased it. Those are smaller things that speak to who you are as a person, right? Because there's more to you than just the shirt. Like so you buy the shirt and you say, okay, especially if they know who you are, they'll wear that shirt proudly because they're like, okay, yeah, this is the wise wolf on the shirt, but I know who he is beyond the brand, right?
Right.
So, um, there was a in your and the thing that I love about being this alter ego, if you will, you're always evolving,
Hmm.
and it's nice to have a partner that understands the entrepreneurial journey because they're also on it.
Hmm.
You're gonna have, and like I said, you're gonna have your moments where you feel like you're on top of the world. You're kind of coasting, and then it's like, okay, I need an accountability check again, right? Because
Hmm.
low on energy and low on enthusiasm. And it's like, don't get discouraged because the books aren't selling, or the t-shirts aren't selling, or even the mugs aren't selling, because that's not really who you are. I mean, it's a part of it, but it's not its entirety. Like your gift is getting on stages and telling and inspiring people, because you just never know who's ready to hear your message.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's taking the wolf, and it's kind of creating your own metaphorical wolf pack, right? Because now you build this community of people that want also what you want to give,
Hmm.
which is constant gratitude and peace. Like I think that's my second favorite word, peace.
Hmm.
You want to
Yeah.
live up to it, and you want to share it.
Yeah. Well, I would say you do an incredible job of definitely representing that of gratitude and peace and like you said earlier, the smile. So
Yep.
you always have a smile on your face. And so it's always inviting whenever you're around. I've only been in your presence one time, but like in physical form, but like, several times on Zoom. And it's just always so good to just have you in the virtual space or in the physical room, right? And so it's always just nice to have your presence around. And I kind of wanted to go back into when you talked about the book and people not only 1% writing the book.
Mhm.
And when there's healing in the book, like there's healing when everybody if you're breathing, you have a story, right? No matter how long you've been
Yep.
alive, you have a story in you because we all individually have our own lives. So everybody has a story in them. And so, I found the same thing when I was writing my book, that that I had healing in that. And as even as you start speaking on stage, sometimes there's even some healing in that, and in the right setting, in the right platform of speaking on stage. And so, how did you overcome that limiting belief that you couldn't write a book? How did you overcome that? And what were some of the steps that you took to just write the book? And I want you to tell us a little bit about your book as well.
So I've come to learn, right, that at some point you have this. It might not be a breaking point, but it's a moment that really impacts you to the degree that you kind of just like, wow, I can't even, I can't even think right now. Like this was gut punching, and I think all of us tend to have that moment at some point. We experience it differently, but it's kind of a gut punching feeling.
Mm.
It could be an experience, it could be a conversation, it could be something that you saw, but you experience something that is just that impactful, that it opens your eyes to something that you've been missing out on,
Mm.
which for me was very gut punching conversation with my mother about 3 years ago, just as I was getting into this whole personal growth space, right? She said something to me that I had never heard from her before, but B, it was it really opened my eyes to the fact that as much as I wanted to have a partner, right? That was always my dream, have a partner, have a family, and all of that. I'd never had a partner. I never had an issue, going out on dates, right, and just asking somebody out for a cup of coffee or dinner, what have you. But then the family would never like, and so I'd say to the family, "Oh, I'm going to go on a date." I'm like, "Okay, like maybe she's the one." And so it happened and again, but nothing would happen. And so one day she's like, "I want to talk to you." Imagine hearing that from your mother, how you feel inside, right? Like, oh boy, what is she gonna say now?
Right.
And and every at family reunions, people would always ask me, like, so where's the girlfriend? Like, where's the girlfriend? Right? What? I'm like, oh well, I haven't found the right one. Kind of like, and it's almost like you realize that you've been deflecting, right? Kind of blaming it on something else.
Mm.
And she said, I don't think the issue is that you haven't met the right person, because I think I see a common denominator here. The issue is you.
Well,
You know how gut punching that felt?
yeah, that's a gut punch.
That's a good punch.
Mhm.
Knocks the air out of you, right? Whew. But I needed to hear that, because for the first time in my life, I was like, how is it that I can expect people to love me as a partner, but I don't even love myself? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what it is. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that explains a lot. And you hear it all the time, like, it's not you, it's me.
Mm.
Yeah, like times 1,000. I And so shortly after that, when I got into this morning and evening routine journey with Jose about focusing on myself and really being conscious, intentional, inspirational, if you will, about when I go in that bathroom and I see who's looking at me from the mirror. You got to give that person some love, because that person is waiting for you every single morning, talking about your reflection.
Mhm. Yeah.
And kudos to Mel Robbins, for me, one of my favorite authors. Definitely check out her books and her podcast. She's just absolutely amazing. She was a guest on somebody's podcast, and she talked about how she just had that kind of a gut punching moment too. Obviously, not a conversation with her mother, but like I did. But she had this moment where she was like, Rachel, for the first time in my life, and me being a 50-plus-year-old woman, I realized that there's two people in the bathroom at all times: you and your reflection.
Oh wow.
It's like, dude, it's like, and I want you to think about this. And he's like, what do you say to that person when you see them? Because they're waiting for you. You realize it's a miracle every time you get to see them, and to not acknowledge them.
Mm.
It's like they're so deserving of your love and appreciation and support and respect and so many things, that we just go through life so quickly that we like, we may or may not even notice. And it's like, and I'm pretty sure if you ask most people, they probably don't have that 5 to 10 second moment where it's just you and your reflection. And you can touch the glass. And some of people are conscious of, I don't want to dirty the glass, the mirror, but I mean, this, like, giving yourself a high five, like, that is dopamine for your brain.
Wow.
Like, that is you telling your brain, I got this. You can't give somebody a high five, and like, you can't do this and have negative energy. You just can't.
Wow.
So, waking up with that, checking in with myself through journaling, like, I can do this. Because I would write a page, 2 pages, 3 pages sometimes. Like, I need to put this in a book. And I just thank Daniel every single day, because he helped me publish it. That he said, if you want to dive even deeper with your readers, give them a reflection page. So for every poem that you have a reflection page. And I think that was even harder for me to write than the actual poems. Because
Really?
I wanted the reflection page to really be reflective of the poem that it follows. So I'm like, yeah, I would love to hear what people reflect on after they read a poem, because it's like, yeah, I do genuinely care about what you're thinking, what you're feeling after you read a poem. Because, and here's the thing that I think people oversee about poetry, it may be a few words, it might be a few lines, but there's a lot of deep thought that goes into them when you actually see them on social media or in a book. And it doesn't have to rhyme or anything. I mean, kudos if it does, but I mean, really, it's about what you feel in your heart that you want people to know.
Mm, that's
Uh,
good.
so that's, yeah, in a nutshell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that, that's when you talk about, there's two people in the bathroom and you and your reflection. That's such a thing to ponder. That's such a thing, a perspective that I've never even thought about. Like, yes, I look at my reflection and, I look myself in the eye and, it took me a long time to do that, to be able to love the person that I'm looking back, or that's looking back at me, I should say.
Mhm.
And so, but the way you just said that is, to giving yourself a high five and just, looking yourself in the eye, and that's just such a different perspective. I've never thought about that before, that there's two people. There's two people. You only think about the one, like you're not gonna look at you, but yeah, wow, that's something to think about. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that awareness and that wisdom. And far as your book and the reflection, and I need to get your book. I don't have your book yet.
And I don't have your
So
book either, so we gotta swap books.
I know it. I know it. We'll have to sign and ship them out to each other.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So tell us, in the remaining time that we have here, tell us what is next. What is next for Raul and his wolf pack?
Oh my goodness, so many things. I definitely am growing, or I'm in the process of growing, a membership, the Alpha Poet Society. You don't have to be a poet to be in it, because I think there's a poet in all of us. We just have to cultivate it. And that goes through going what I've been through, right? It's kind of like me sharing how I've gotten to where I am in just 3 years, to wish the same for you. And it's like, uh, the poetry is I think it's a beautiful way for you to express yourself creatively. I know that there's folks who may not be very excited about reading or writing, but maybe their talent is in speaking. Because and the reason I come from that perspective is because we all need healing. That's one of my major takeaways from this weekend's Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. Like, there is just healing that can be done just by being in the room with people, just by getting on stage. When you're, especially if you're in a speaking competition, whether you win the trophy or not, you go through healing just by getting on that stage and sharing your story, whether it's the first time or the 10th time. There's always ways that you can tweak how you want to share it. Like, somebody could say, Nikki was telling me this the other day. She's like, I've heard Raul speak for the last year and a half, and there are still moments where I get goosebumps listening to him give it.
Wow.
Because there's always another way for you to take your story and inspire people with it. And for me, poetry is another avenue that you can find that better version of you that we always want to be, whether it's writing, speaking, masterminding. We've been part of Empowered Journey, where we just talk about some of these amazing books and how they, resonate with you. So as kind of, and I learned this. I did my research, and I said, alpha wolves. People typically assume that they're just like the male wolf, right? It's like, so what would female wolves be? And I'm like, just curious, but I think females are alphas too. And so the term alpha, it's both male and female. So you females, you can be proud to be alpha wolves too.
Nice. I like it.
And so that's why the colors are both, orange for the guys, pink for the ladies,
I love it.
because this is open to men and women to find that alpha poet in you, to just really take your growth to another level. And I think that having that membership can really help to create those additional writers that can add to that 1% of the world that actually has had the courage to share their story. That it means the world to me.
That's incredible.
To offer something to people that that they know what they got to heal from, and that they want to, and that they find the courage to do it, whether it's speaking, writing, or just being in an accountability group with people that know that no matter what happens, no matter where in the spectrum they are, they have a wolf pack that is going to support them.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite phrase from just everything wolfisms: the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
Wow.
So you don't have to be alone in this world.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's good. Well, Raul, I so appreciate you just being on here today, sharing with everybody your heart and your story, your journey, and what you have coming up. I know you have some amazing things in the pipeline coming up. And so tell us how, if people want to get connected with you and, be part of your membership, or be, just in your circle of influence and following you and just your inspiration and motivation, how can they find you?
Facebook is the best way, because I think that's where most of my Wise Wolf traffic goes, followed by LinkedIn and Instagram. But if you just look for me as Raul Marin, you'll see my smiling face, and you'll be like, "Yep, that's him."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think those are the three best ways to reach me. And we'll connect and see how we can continue to share smiles and gratitude with everybody we connect with.
Yes. Do you happen to have your book handy, or no?
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. So can people buy that from you or Amazon? How do they get that book?
It is on Amazon.
Okay.
If you Amazon, on the search bar of Amazon Rise of Gratitude, you'll see this beautiful book cover.
That is pretty. I like it.
I also have copies myself. So once we're connected on Facebook or Instagram, whichever one you use, when you message me privately, I can message you the direct link to order it from me, and I'll customize it and sign it and send it to you, as I will for Rachel.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know. I'll get mine down as well, and I will sign it. We'll have to exchange our addresses in Messenger, and we'll get those sent out. But Raul, thank you so much. I appreciate you just taking your time today, sharing with us. It's been an amazing, amazing recording. And so I'm sure anybody that listens to any part of this is going to be inspired, and just, hearing your voice, seeing your face. So again, thank you so much. And you all have a very blessed day. Bye-bye.
This is your host, Rachel Bess, and I hope you loved the show. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as well as share with a friend. If you would like, you can follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook under Rachel Best. You can also find me on my website at rachelbestspeaks.com.